Hi everyone, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and a big warm hello to my subscribers. I love you guys so much. Today I am bringing you more Easter and spring DIYs, and as always, I hope you enjoy the show. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. Now, I got some questions about this on my last video. For Dollar Tree signs, I love to show you how to dupe those when you can. So I've got this nice little Dremel right here, and it cuts it in seconds, and it's super easy to do. I've got it down below in my description box if you're interested in buying one. But I go and get this 1/8 of an inch, 4 feet by 8 feet wood. It's a utility panel. It's just plywood, and it is the same thickness as a Dollar Tree sign. So when I did the math, you can get 41 Dollar Tree rectangle signs out of this board and about 37 square ones. And those are just the standard skinny square and skinny rectangle Dollar Tree signs that they sell. And obviously if you bought them, it would be $37 to $41. So this is a way better deal. As you can imagine, I make a lot of signs, and you also don't have to deal with gluing the signs together if you need them to be bigger. So there's a lot of pluses going this way, and that's why I do it. And of course, I love to show you how to save even more money when you can. So for this size sign, you're going to need 3 rectangle Dollar Tree signs, and I took mine out, spray painted it black. Now for the Dollar Tree signs, I actually think it's better if you glue it on a poster board. I think it makes it more structurally sound. You can do the craft stick way if you want, where you glue craft sticks on the back, but make sure you really glue them on there in different directions so it doesn't fall apart. That's another reason I like using these boards. You just don't have to deal with that. You can make whatever size you want, and it's a little more structurally sound. But nothing wrong with the Dollar Tree signs. They totally work, and if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I'd be buying those signs and crafting with those. So go ahead and use those if that's easier for you. So I'm using the Dollar Tree wooden letters here. I'm just tracing out the words Happy Easter, every bunny. And they sell these little poster letters as well. I use them like stencils. You can use any letter shape that you want for stencils, but that worked and it fit really well on this board. And now I'm just taking my chalkboard pen. This is actually a chalk pen. It's wet, and I use it like a paint marker, and I'm going to go ahead and trace out these letters. So I love my chalk pens so much, but for filling in, they're not so great. They don't tend to have the vibrancy, and you end up having to do 2 or 3 coats, and it gets way, way too expensive. So I like painting. I find it very therapeutic and relaxing, and I'm using a paint called Craft Smart here. I absolutely love that paint. It is an ultra matte dry. It is only $14.99 for 64 fluid ounces, and as you can see, it covers in 1 coat. This is a new paint for me. I bought it on a whim. Really, really happy. I'm not sponsored by them. I just think it's a really nice paint and worth the money. And I think it might, when you hold the Waverly chalk paint in white next to this, it looks identical. So I think it might be more cost effective. And if you can't find a chalk paint that you're looking for, this would be an option that you could look into. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these letters in, as you can see. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some twine on the top of this sign. Now I should mention this was a Pinterest inspired craft. I saw this I think last year, and I thought it was so cute. I took a screenshot, so I'm trying to copy it. I can't find my screenshot. I'm going by memory, but I do a little dry brushing to add a little distressing on the front there, and then I'm going to clothes peg these Dollar Tree carrots on the top of this twine. Now I used the bigger clothes pegs, but my carrots were kind of shooting up like torpedoes, so that didn't work too well. Make sure you get the tiny little mini clothes pegs, and I decided to add a bunny. Now it just felt like it was missing something. I can't remember if the one I saw had it or not, but I just took some paper, held it up to my computer screen, traced out a bunny shape, cut it out, and then I drew it in the center here. Now, instead of coloring it in solid, painting it solid in the bunny, I decide it will look better just with kind of a scribble. I don't know if there's a name for that technique, but I didn't want to fill it in all the way, but I love the way this came out. Let me know what you think. For this craft, you're going to need a large can. I'm using a coffee can, some cardboard, and some craft sticks, and either a wine cork or some towering blocks and some sisal rope or twine. It's totally up to you. And this craft is actually back by popular demand. I made one for fall, one for Christmas, and one for Valentine's Day, and a ton of you came on and asked me to make one for every season, and I thought that's wonderful because I store my tea bags in this, and it makes it so festive in my kitchen to have some kind of holiday container on the counter, and afterwards I use them to store other things in as well, so it's all good. I was showing you the burnt umber with how much black paint I put in it. I use that often for a stain. I add a little bit of water to it. I added water to this one to make like a watercolor stain on the edge there, because this was actually a watercolor bunny print that is free, and it will be down below in my description box. Just click on that and there's a link there. Now, the way I tackle any kind of surface like this that has a lot of grooves with Mod Podge is I have a wet sponge next to me, and the sponge is pretty wet. I mean, it's not soaking, slopping wet, but it's wet enough when you're pressing, water's sinking into the paper. Now, I need to use something where I can press, and I'm actually pressing very hard. I'm not pressing just gently, and the longer you leave it and press, you're just watch, you can see it in real time here. See those little wrinkles in that groove? I'm gonna hold it down. You'll see me hold it down, and you'll see how they just kind of disappear. So I promise you, if you're really patient, this is an excellent way to get your image onto a surface that has grooves like that without any wrinkles. So the next thing I'm doing is I'm tracing a lid, and I end up cutting the lid back about the width of the sisal rope that I'm using. So if you use nautical rope or twine or whatever you're going to do, make sure you account for that in your final measurement. And I end up using 5 layers of cardboard. Once I have those all together, I trim those to make sure they're all even on the edges there, and I'm just going to connect all of them with hot glue. That's it. You just glue them all together. And believe it or not, when these lids are done, this is my 3rd one because I wanted to change it up a little bit. I was getting bored and I was having fun. But they're really heavy when you're done. No matter what method I show you, they're very heavy and they sit on top. So I end up taking some masking tape. I tape those craft sticks together. I don't know why I forgot that. I usually do that, but I started to do them on their own, and I thought, what are you doing? It's a great method to tape them together. And see how I'm taking the scissors and kind of nibbling at them? Kudos to my mother for that tip. She actually has dry toenails, and she has to cut them where she kind of nibbles with her scissors. That's what she told me one day. And she said, well, that way they won't split. And I thought, ooh, I wonder if that would work with craft sticks, and it does. So thank you to my mother for that. It works beautifully. So just nibble away, and you shouldn't have any trouble with those craft sticks unless there's a major fault line in them. Sometimes you can't help it, but 9 out of 10 times it works. And now I'm just going to finish it off with a little bit of the antiqued paper that I bought from Amazon and a glue stick. I really love these glue sticks from Dollar Tree. Another person asked me, how are they holding up? Because we both remembered back in the 1990s, they were just absolute garbage. Nothing stuck. And you know, I was wrong. I said there was 6 to a package on my last video. There's 8. It is a great deal, and I've done one project now. It's going on 4 weeks, and so far so good. It's holding just fine. So really pleased with the glue sticks. Now I chose sisal rope because it smells like sweet hay and kind of has that energy of grass, and there was just something about Easter and baskets and bunnies and grass. They all just kind of go really well, and I was, thought it would be a nice change. You do have to burn off the hairs for a while to get it nice and smooth, but for the edge of the craft sticks, I opt to use the Walmart twine. It's a little thicker than the jute twine at the Dollar Tree, and I'm showing you in real time here how slow I was going, because if you're really careful and slow, you can get a nice clean edge, and it gave it like a graduated edge too, because it's not as thick as the sisal rope. Really pretty in real life, really pretty. And I'm using the towering block using wood glue. Spoke about this many times in my videos, but for those of you that are new, wood glue actually bonds with wood at a molecular level. It is the strongest glue you can use for wood. Super glue is great. I mean, there's a lot of strong glues out there, but if you're looking for one for raw wood, not painted wood, because once you paint it, it's no longer raw, but raw wood, it really, really holds. So it's a great choice for that. And I'm using a little burnt umber to edge it, and this is what we end up with. For this next craft, you're going to need 3 of these wooden squares. Now, I got this as part of a beautiful craft supply box one of my subscribers sent me. She wishes to remain unnamed, but thank you so much. You know who you are. And unfortunately, I don't know where she got these from. It appears that she shops at the Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and Walmart in her gift packages to me. So I think it's from one of those stores, but any wooden squares will work. And I'm just applying some white acrylic paint here in a very haphazardly dry brushing manner. I want the edges of this to stick out because I want the wood to show, and I don't want it to be a really heavy coverage in the middle as well. I just kind of want to shadow this almost with a little bit of white. There it is right there, almost like a cloudy look. That's what I'm going for. And now I have this print. Now I own this print, and I took a picture of it and printed it online and cropped it. But if you look up watercolor rabbits, or I'm sorry, watercolor Easter bunnies, beautiful, beautiful imagery comes up, including this one. So you can actually buy this one if you want, or use it, or whatever you want. It's up to you. Now we're going back to the glue stick here because it's just an easy way to get paper on without it wrinkling. I am applying it to the paper this time, and I'm being really thorough about getting it all around the edges on every single part of that surface because I don't want these guys to lift. Now I made these 7 days ago and they're still sticking down really, really well. So like I said, so far so good. I am really, really pleased. I haven't even gotten around yet to sealing these with a clear varnish or a Mod Podge. I'm going to, because I do want them to have some extra protection. But after I got done crafting, I kind of put all my crafts in my craft room and I was letting everything dry. And then you know how it goes. Life comes along and you've got laundry and dishes. But this is something I'm going to do, and it's been about 5 days and they haven't even lifted without being sealed, and they haven't wrinkled. They're just holding up beautifully. So I just, you know, like again, I'm not sponsored by Dollar Tree, but for 8 sticks, they are just a great deal. So you saw me edging it there with burnt umber and using my finger to smear it a little bit, and this is what we end up with. Now I'm going to use some craft sticks from the Dollar Tree. You can use any size that you want, and I'm going to connect them in a vertical way. Now I can't give you exact measurements here because if you want to connect it going horizontal, you'll probably do it a bit different. You can use ribbon as well. That would be really pretty. And you may want them farther apart, closer together. But what I wanted to point out here is when you use wood glue and hot glue, never mix the 2 glues together or you will deactivate the hot glue. I see a lot of people do this and then their craft, they'll go, oh, it fell apart. And so I just want to let you know, I don't know what goes on there, but maybe it cools the hot glue too quick before you can get it to do its job, because the hot glue really is just a tacking method to get it to stay instantly, and then that wood glue is what's going to dry and make a more permanent stronghold. So I just wanted to let you guys know, be careful to put those in different sections on your crafts. Don't mix them. And here I'm using 2 rows here of the Dollar Tree twine to make a back for this. I'm going to go ahead and cover these edges with some masking tape just so they hold a little bit stronger, because that's all you need. This isn't a very heavy craft at all. But I really, really love the way this came out, you guys. I was going for a Beatrice Potter feeling rustic Easter craft, and I love this. For this craft, you're going to need some of these Dollar Tree wood planks, a waste basket in any color, and you're going to be cutting that waste basket up, and you will be using 4 of the wood planks. Now again, thank you to my unnamed craft lady who sends me some supplies, she asked me what I needed, and for whatever reason my Dollar Trees do not carry these wood planks, and I've checked 6 of them. So I don't know what their problem is. They're just not sending it my way. But I could literally make a whole video out of these and make like 5 crafts. I love these. I'm starting off using some wood glue with a little drop of hot glue, but it's not really strong enough to hold these. So, you know, you're challenged a little bit initially because they're so thin, and you just have to move really slow. So what you do is you use a little masking tape there to hold it together. You're going to see when I turn it around, I'm really, really gentle, but it does stay up. And it stays up so that I can put the top on. So we're making kind of like a little window box here. And again, I'm not mixing the hot glue with the wood glue. I'm just putting a little bit of wood glue on the edge there because that's what's going to hold it really strong. The hot glue is literally just to give me an instant hold so the whole thing doesn't fall apart. And what I'm using instead of clamps, because you can't really clamp this because of the shape, is masking tape. You can use painter's tape. I wouldn't recommend duct tape because it might leave a sticky residue, and you know, you don't want to have to pull it apart really hard when you're done, when it's dry. And this is how I go about applying the hot glue for a little bit more protection. I'm doing a thin ribbon. Then I'm going to take my 100% silicone spatula that I got at the Dollar Tree. You can get these at Walmart, also on Amazon. There's a link below in my description box if you're curious. And I'm just rubbing that down to make it nice and small because I am planning on staining this. Now this is the next day after drying overnight. I'm going to remove the masking tape and I'm going to go about staining it. I'm using my burnt umber mix with a little drop of black paint, and that's approximately how much water I put into that much paint. And it makes a great stain for wood. I did have to put it on twice. So I put it on, kind of dabbed it off so it didn't get too wet, and then I put it on again and we got this color right here. So I'm taking the wastebasket that I cut up from another craft that I did in the fall. This is a great dupe for chicken wire, you guys. I'm sure you've seen it before. I did take my hands and stretch it out as much as I could in either direction, and I just marked it with a permanent marker, as you saw, and we're going to glue it on the back of this little box here. We're making like a, I don't know if it's a window box really, because I'm putting the back with the chicken wire, but make sure you trim the edges of the wire so that it's nice and flush with the surface of the wood. That way you won't get scratched or poked when you pick up your craft, and it looks nice and tidy that way. I'm just using some wire clippers I got at Walmart. And here's the problem when you have glue in the corner of things. The stain just doesn't soak into the wood like it should. Easy fix, just use a little black paint. You'll cover it. It's a great camouflage and it works great. So I have a white wastebasket and I'm using the apple barrel paint in pewter gray to paint that gray initially. And now I'm going to use this folk art shimmering silver shiny iridescence, I think, iridescent paint to make it look like metal. So if I had gotten the black wastebasket, I don't think they had any when I was shopping, I would probably just use the iridescent paint on that. That would be fine, but I needed some gray there. So 2 steps for me. Now I decide to take the nutmeg color by Apple Barrel and just add a little bit of rust, and you can't really see it here, but you'll see it at the end in the final reveal how good that rust looks. It really adds so much charm because I wanted it to look antiqued and distressed, and it just comes up beautiful. Here's a bird I got at the 99-cent store for 99 cents. We're going to be giving him a little bit of a makeover here because I want him to have a certain look here. I guess this craft could also be a French country craft for those of you that are fans of French country, but I just give him a coat of my white acrylic paint, 1 coat, and now I'm taking, yes, that's a blush brush. I actually got that from 5 and Under. It used to be a mermaid tail, but I cut it off. And I dabbed him with a bit of pewter gray. It was a bit too dark, so I took some more white paint, went over the pewter gray, and then I decided to use some black paint because I definitely wanted him to have some chips and look nice and antiqued. So now I'm using some school glue on cardboard. I love to do this. That way I can glue the reindeer moss down, also from the Dollar Tree, and I can change this out for seasons. If you don't have a ceramic bird, just use the white little birds they sell at the Dollar Tree in the floral sections. That would look just as cute. And this is what we have. I'm going to put the birdie in there, a little bit of greenery, and set it up, and it makes an absolutely beautiful spring decor piece. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe. It really does help my channel. Thank you so much, and I love you guys. And as always, until the next video, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.